Well, sorry, Cavs fans. That literally went exactly as we all expected, but what are you going to do? So I'm going to be splitting this video up into two parts because I'm not sure I'm going to have time to record by the time that this Dallas OKC game gets done. It's happening behind me right now, so I want to just talk about this while it's fresh in my mind because I'm sure this game is probably going to be a lot more competitive. But 120-95. Yeah, that's kind of exactly what I figured was going to happen. It's just a complete talent mismatch. And obviously the Cavs don't have Jared Allen. That stuff, Jared Allen doesn't make up 30-point difference. There's a massive difference between these two teams, unfortunately. And the Celtics did exactly what we thought they needed to do, which was go out and guard the three-point line and just make it really, really hard for them to get up any sort of three-point shot. And they did just that. They shot 26% on 42 attempts. So they tried to get their shots up. Don't get it twisted. They sure tried, but they could not get anything up. Max Strus could not get any separation. Shout out Isaac Okoro. So clearly somebody got in his head to be like, hey, you need to shoot, but he missed a couple ones at the rim too that weren't too good. Evan Mobley missed, he went 8 for 12, but probably the 4 that he missed were gimmies. So I guess he could have had a better game. It's still a little weird to me that they're not trying to spread him out a little bit more, but is what it is. Donovan Mitchell did his thing. He's always out there giving it his best. Darius Garland, I feel like he's struggling a little bit to generate his shot here in the postseason, which is a little weird for me because he's one of the shiftier and more shot creating guys in the NBA. I feel like he's not finishing around the rim very well. His touch is a little bit off. Obviously, the three-point shot didn't fall tonight, but he had Derek White and Drew Holiday just on his ass. Even Donovan Mitchell was struggling to really get away from those dudes, and that's what we expect from the two best probably perimeter defenders out there in the league. But man, was it rough, and I don't think anybody had a more rough night than Sam Merrill, man. Sam Merrill looked lost out there. I wasn't surprised he got minutes tonight. I was a little bit surprised that Georges Niang didn't get more minutes than him. I kind of figured he'd get a role increase, but we really thinking seventh man? Is that really what we need to do? I guess because of the three-point shooting, but I'd rather have Niang out there to at least try and play a little bit of defense because Merrill was getting absolutely bullied out there and he could not get away from anybody. His shots were so contested, they were getting blocked. It looked rough out there. It looked rough, and I don't want to pile on him. He was giving a great effort at the very least. He was hustling after all of his shots and everything, so I give him a ton of credit. But no, this Cavs team, man, they could not get anything going. As for the Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown was cooking early. That's awesome. And you know what? Let's just even say this. Jason Tatum didn't play very well at all. Mostly in the form of getting his outside shot going. His inside shot was actually going pretty good. He was doing a lot of moves to create a lot of contact, drew a lot of fouls. That's awesome. So in a game where Jason Tatum didn't play that great, you beat this team by 30. It's not looking good for you, Cavs fans. It's not looking good for you. The Cavs clearly were just letting Al Horford do whatever he wants. They were yeah, well, we need to let somebody shoot on this team, so it's going to be Al Horford. And Al Horford made him pay once from one of his corner threes or whatever. Did he take any that weren't in the corner? Oh, I can't see yet because the game just ended, but whatever. I feel like all of them were in the corner. But Derek White hit some really tough ones, even on broken possessions. His shooting stroke is just on fire right now. Drew Holiday looks a little bit unsure. He looks like he's really just trying to be a role player out there at this point, and that's fine. Drew Holiday's doing great out there every single time he's out there. I want him to be a little bit more aggressive scoring wise though, because there was just a couple times I felt like he shot or he caught the ball and he was okay, I should look to make the next pass. No, Drew Holiday, you're really good at basketball too. Go get your shot. Sam Hauser, not a ton of minutes tonight. Can somebody explain to me where Luke Cornett found out how to jump tonight? I haven't seen Luke Cornett play a ton since he was on the Bulls or whatever, but he was getting up there today. He had a blocked shot too, so shout out Luke Cornett. I thought Xavier Tillman, in his very limited minutes, had some nice plays. He had some nice hustle movements out there. Peyton Pritchard, I thought, was really, really good, just being a hustle guy. So, they were talking about during the game, not necessarily trusting the Celtics bench and everything. I think between Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, you feel really good, with those guys and what they do on the court. And then if Porzingis comes back, I feel pretty good about having, obviously Al Horford coming off the bench, but, Cornette is kind of iffy at times, and Tillman does some things for you, so I'm not too worried about this bench at the end of the day. Put him up against a different team, maybe not even in the East. What happens if they go up against the Knicks or something like that, and all of a sudden all this rebounding starts to become a thing? What are the Celtics going to do then? Especially if they try to take away Jaylen Brown's ability to dribble, which is still a little bit absent at the moment, but that's not my problem. But no, the Celtics looked really good tonight. I wish there was a more in-depth thing to talk about with this. You could talk about the screens being set or something. It felt like the Cavs guards were just too little to get around some of these screens being set. And then guys like Holiday and White were creating, and Tatum was creating. Like I said, if he got in the paint and he had a smaller guy on him, it was a foul like every single time. So, it is what it is, right? So, I mean, credit to the Celtics. Credit to the Celtics at the end of the day. So, I'm going to go watch the OKC Dallas game now, and I'm probably going to be wearing different clothes in the morning. Hey, look at that. It's the next morning. Movie magic is real. The Oklahoma City Thunder kind of just took care of business against the Dallas Mavericks, 117-95. This game was just all about OKC's length, their ability to get steals, get out in transition. Their half-court defense was a lot better than all of us actually expected. Luka Doncic just not quite looking right, but let's dive into it. If we can talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder, obviously the big thing was Lou Dort being put on Luka Doncic. People wondering what can be done actually about that, and Luka just, ever since early in the game, and obviously like stemming into last season, injuries kind of making him not so mobile. So yes, I guess the coverages that they threw at him worked. I felt like there was a lot of simple adjustments to be made, and we're actually going to talk about some of those that I think Dallas should have made in the game. But I mean, it worked in this game, what they did for OKC, and I'm sure Dagnall's going to have some things ready to adjust because I don't see Dallas having the coaching staff to go make some like crazy adjustments or whatever, so I'm sure Dagnall's going to be ready for it. But it was just like, it was Lou Dort's effort, if nothing else, that was like so impressive to watch. Like, even though Luka wasn't like turning the corner hard or anything like that on any of the screens, it was just like, hey, whenever he did get hand on ball, he was the first one on the ground or something like that, or he just made the play. And so shout out Lou Dort for that. Jalen Williams didn't have like any points going for a while, and then he just got it going at the end, just hitting tough shot after tough shot after tough shot. That's what stars do, man. They show up when they're needed. Chet Holmgren, while rebounding, not so great again. Like, he was really struggling to get some of those rebounds. Like, you saw his advantage happen in like transition when OKC got out there and they're trying to finish at the rim or something like that, and he's getting these tip-ins and these put-back dunks. Like, the length and athleticism shows itself. We didn't see much of Josh Giddey in this one, and that's primarily because there were points in the game where Dallas started putting like either Gafford or Derek Lively on him. Mostly in the second half when they went on that run, you saw Daniel Gafford switch completely onto Josh Giddey and be like, okay, you can shoot as much as you want. And I guess that's just to the selflessness of OKC, that they can just pull one of their best players out and be like, yeah, you're not going to play because you're not really able to help us a ton right now. And that's just how it is for them, and that's awesome. Obviously Shea was doing his thing, made a bunch of really, really tough shots. I thought whenever Kyrie was on him that he actually did a pretty good job, all said and done. Like, he still hit a lot of his little turnaround like hit shots, and he was still very shifty. Got around Luka really easy. Luka's like a revolving door right now, but again, he can't do anything on offense even really right now. Like, he can't move. I think Luka only got into the paint like twice to like shoot, which is unfortunate. So, just take that obviously as it is. Shout out big Jalen Williams, by the way, someone I'm often kind of critical of, just because like I don't necessarily understand the role that he plays in the NBA, and I don't feel like it's too hard to game plan for him. But man, just hitting timely shots, he just stays ready. Like, he's just constantly like, okay, I'm going to get to my spot. My hands are up. I'm ready to shoot. And as soon as he gets that ball after Shea, he's like, all right, fine, I'll pass it to you. And he's just like, boom, hits the shot. Love it. Isaiah Joe doing Isaiah Joe things. Gordon Hayward not playing too much. Cason Wallace, really, really good defense as always. Aaron Wiggins continues to impress me, man. This kid just has such a great sense for the game. Obviously, they left him open for a lot of three-pointers and everything, but he took advantage of them, right? And there were times where I remember the specific possession where I think it was Shea that got trapped in like the short corner or something like that, and somehow Aaron Wiggins was in the corner at one point, and then all of a sudden he was cutting towards the hoop and got a perfect pass and got a layup, right? Like, just little things like that are so awesome. But like, shout out OKC, like all their dudes came out and gave a great effort and everything. Like, they took their timely three-pointers, they caused steals, they got out in transition, they got out on the floor. They deserved to win that game. As far as Dallas goes, though, that was a rough showing. Like, Daniel Gafford played a really good game, but he still just had like a lot of moments. He was not sure what to do, and he would catch those like low pick and roll opportunities, and he was like, I got to keep the ball high and everything. I got to finish over these dudes, and he just couldn't quite finish over him. So a low field goal percentage game for him. PJ Washington was in foul trouble early, and then just never really found a way to get going into the game. He still hit some really timely shots. Derrick Jones Jr. looked good on defense. Didn't get a ton of shot opportunities in all honesty, so there just was only so much he could do. I felt Kyrie Irving should have been initiating more of the offense in this game, because Luka couldn't move. Like it was so obvious to me, and I know they're like, well, we're not gonna not give him the ball or whatever, but I'm like, we established that like this Dallas Mavericks team looks a lot better when they can catch the ball and like really just go at the rim, right? And they want to get deeper into the paint so they can get better kickouts, they can get everyone else moving, kind of doing a driving cut type thing like OKC does, right? But like when Luka can't do that, now you're just back to him just holding the ball for like 9-10 seconds and then taking a bad shot or making a pass where somebody's just got to take the next shot, right? And it's not good offense. Derek Lively wasn't too involved in this one. Josh Green, I want Josh Green on the court more and more and more. You could probably convince me that he should start. Like, that's just me. That's just where I think about it. Tim Hardaway Jr., despite being out there like 17 minutes, like I never actually really noticed him out there. Every time he'd shoot the ball, I'd be like, "Oh, Tim Hardaway Jr.'s back. That's awesome." And obviously, like he's been hurt, so like we're gonna let him get his feet back under him and everything before we judge his shooting performance too much or whatever. But next game he's just gonna have to be better because somebody's gonna have to start scoring. But I want to talk about like what Dallas was just kind of running into over and over and over again during that game, and it was really like annoying me. So I'm going over to the whiteboard really quick. So this is kind of what you would see in this game, and I'm just gonna draw this out over here for spacing purposes. So for Dallas, a lot of times what would happen, here's Lou Dort on Luka, right, is you have Gafford setting like all the screens, right? He's setting almost every screen here, and actually a lot of times it was going like this way, so let's draw it out like this. So Gafford's setting a screen or something like that because they didn't want to run towards the middle for some reason on here. Luka comes around, they're kind of like icing him and pushing him towards the corner, and Gafford's rolling. And they got dudes like J-Dub, they got dudes like Shea and Giddey all getting like kind of hands-on ball and everything, making Gafford try to make a decision, and honestly he's catching it more so like here because they're bumping him and stuff like that and trying not to let him get too close to the rim, and that's part of the problem. But this is a hard like chess pass to make. And like when Luka can't like do anything off of this, he can't try to split these dudes because he's not feeling athletic or anything. This isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work for the Dallas Mavericks. Like, this pass is too hard already. They clearly have an adjustment being made to where they're gonna make this really difficult for Gafford, or they're gonna make him be a good passer with it, which is just, you're asking a lot out of a dude. So here's what I want to see happen. I don't want Gafford setting too many screens now. Like, and just hear me out, right? Like, obviously the pick and roll and the alley-oop threat to Gafford, it's a great thing for them and everything, right? I totally understand it. What I want is, since they're going to be like icing or like hard hedging Luka and Kyrie around all of these screens, we need to start getting the short roll in as an option. And we can't have Gafford necessarily running that. So here's what I want to do. I want to start running PJ Washington on the screen. You come off here. Let's say they continue to ice like this. PJ just rolls here. Nice easy pass for Luka. Pass right there. This is what you see the Warriors do with Draymond Green all the time. So now decision has to happen, right? Like, he's got open space. Shea's stepping up. Chet's stepping up. Giddey stepping up. Now all of a sudden you've got some options, right? Ideally, I want PJ Washington going towards the hoop. His floater's really, really good. Chet eventually starts to step up. Now all of a sudden you have a bounce pass or something like that to Gafford in the dunker spot. This is where he can get his alley-oops and everything. Because here's the thing, if you give Gafford a head of speed, Chet's not stopping his momentum or anything. So I'm not as worried about that. Chet's still a good defender, and it's nice to pull him away from the rim and have him be involved in those, but I think we're overthinking it. If Shea helps over too much, we hit Kyrie, and we go back into another screen and roll action type here, and Kyrie's operating again, right? Like, we get him moving and stuff like that, but I want to get PJ Washington as kind of the operator here. We got a guy like that because he's dynamic and he can make plays. But now there's a logical thing that Mark Dagnall, I'm sure, has already thought of, because it makes a lot of sense to go do something like this. PJ sets a screen, right? Luka comes around. What happens when they just switch it, right? And they go, oh, okay, now Dort's guarding PJ or whatever. Now is when you can start matchup hunting and stuff, because now you're forcing switches. And this is why, going into this game, I kind of figured Dort would be more of an off-ball guy, because I'm like, okay, OKC has the ability to switch a lot of things. Luka's going to try to hunt matchups and stuff like that, and he always wants to go around a screen. It's not like he just dribbles the ball up and goes straight into isolation. Like, I'm just going to put Dort on whoever the first screen is every time, right? Like, and then Dort can switch back onto Luka. That makes so much sense to me. But I would, at least if I was the Dallas Mavericks coaching staff, I'm like, okay, that's how I would switch up this pick and roll thing, because I don't think bringing Gafford up here and then making him catch a chest pass all the way down here makes a ton of sense. It just doesn't to me. But I'm overanalyzing game one and everything. Luka's got to get healthy, and the rest of the Dallas Mavericks just have to get going. But hey, appreciate you guys watching as always. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.